And what is up, everyone? Back at it again with another jungle tier list, patch 13.17. The new patch just came out. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's broken, what you should be picking right now to be dominating in the jungle like no other player has ever dominated before. And let's just get started. This is a big patch for two items, Spear of Sojin and Goredrinker. These two items have defined the meta so far, and they've just been overperforming on some champions, and the rise and fall of champions have been based off this kind of item combo because it just gives you so much stats and flat HP, and just the early game power it has is just, it's never been seen before. It's a unique thing, and Riot buffed it because they want to see champions like this at Worlds. And let's just get right to it. Jarvan is the king of the jungle, yes, and the Agawin build path, Spear of Sojin, Goredrinker, Frozen Heart, CDR boots, of course, with the whole Spear Visage and stuff like that. Completely broken. You could be the worst player in the world, but as long as you farmed up and you got your item parts, you're just going to be dominating the team fights with EQs all over the place. On top of that, engage is always a plus in solo queue. Having engage, having the go button just means you're going to dominate so much more. It's a great thing to have, and Jarvan does it so well. And yeah, I expect Jarvan nerfs in the patch to come up, but I'll also expect maybe Spear of Sojin nerfs. We'll see with Goredrinker, but yeah, definitely going to see some nerfs on that. Rek'sai didn't get buffed, but again, indirectly Stridebreaker did get buffed, which is like, it's not as big as the other two items, but Spear of Sojin is also good on Rek'sai because, well, as little as the basic ability cooldown reduction helps the Dragon Force passive, the 15% movement speed is just completely broken on top of having 500 health, 60 attack damage. I've been talking about it. It's just a good item on literally every single champion second. So Rek'Sai's been performing, still the queen of the jungle. I expect them to either nerf her this patch or the one after, depending on how they feel about like seeing Rek'Sai on Worlds and stuff like that. But yeah, next we have Kha'Zix. So he got nerfed. Percent damage ratios on his Q, which is pretty big, but it didn't really do that much because he still technically was overkilling people. And he does well into these kind of matchups. Kha'Zix is really good into Jarvan, and like he can play pretty well into some of the harder matches. So he's still a really good pick. He's still overall really strong. One of the few assassins I think that actually is still performing well in the meta, as it's kind of shifting to like more bruiser meta. I think the assassin meta is a bit dead in the water, but the bruiser meta is slowly kind of converting in. And here's a highlight pick of the patch. I think Belle's like a underdog. I think she's actually very broken. I didn't realize it because of her hard matchups just kind of like kept her out of the water. But now I've been seeing Belle. I've been playing against it, and I think she's a great pick. I recommend Belle for all of you guys. Stridebreaker is the mythic. Some people have been rushing Kraken Slayer, but you actually can just go Stridebreaker first item into like Titanic, Death Sands, Wits End, and you're just gonna be like an insane carry. You don't even need Kraken Slayer. With Conqueror runes, it's just so broken. I think she's a great pick. I think she's not going to get nerfed at all for a while. She's kind of like flowing pretty well against the currents, and you should be good to play her, and she's a great champion to pick up. Evelynn should have been nerfed in the patch before, but someone loves Evelynn because of whatever it is. But anyways, she's still performing pretty well. I expect eventually nerfs on the Evelynn count because she's just so broken. But so far, not really any nerfs. Oh my god. Hecarim. So I think people are just really stupid when it comes to Hecarim. I think the win rate is just like not really reflecting Hecarim well. People are just so under, like they don't, too much, just so many random items to build on him. His win rate's just tanked by people going like Divine Sunder and like still going Dustblade and stuff like that. Just go Spear of Sojin first item every time, and you're gonna kill everyone. Like it's just so broken. There's like no cons to it. It's just like the most disgusting item in the game. And now you can go Spear of Sojin into Goredrinker on Hecarim, and it's just, you're like, whoa, Goredrinker doesn't really make sense. It doesn't have to. The stats are just so good. That's the thing about this item. It's just, it's all about these stats. That, being a bruiser is about having more HP and attack damage to survive and get kind of like an extra rotation. Now you can easily get the second rotation, so you're just outstatting everyone. So this is like the most broken thing. I think he's really good. I just put out a video on him, and I'll have a bunch of other videos coming up soon. But yeah, definitely give it a try if you like that kind of play style. Nilly, she's still like living off of like the one tricks are carrying her MMR, but yeah, Nilly is just still performing pretty well for AP jungle. One of the few that performs well into like bruisers because of how, she can kind of keep her distance and just like avoid that stuff. Nocturne, I think Nocturne does really well right now. I've been recommending Nocturne. Plus, I think Stridebreaker into Spear is actually really strong on him. It's kind of like the Agawin build. You can go like Frozen Heart, Death Stands for armor, or you can go you know, whatever is like best in slot for that item in that situation. But that build I think is really good. I also stack Cleaver as well. Same thing with Hecarim. You can go like Spear, Goredrinker, Cleaver, and for Nocturne, Stridebreaker, Spear into Cleaver, and you just stack a bunch of HP and you just like outstat these people with so much ability. Is very broken. I definitely think you guys should give it a try. Fiddle, he's just like that one trick getting carried. He's still good, still performing well. He's a good champ to pick up, but you're definitely gonna have to one trick him if you want to perform on Fiddlesticks. Kane, Blue Kane is garbage right now, but Red Kane with the Goredrinker and Spear of Sojourn is actually very broken. So it's kind of like his win rate just went skyrocketed right back up after the nerf. So he's doing pretty goddamn good. I think Red King right now is very OP with the changes to the Goredrinker and Stridebreaker, but or not Stridebreaker, Goredrinker and Spear of Sojourn and Cleaver stacking on top of it. Very good pickup if you want to get some free LP. Definitely go for the Red King angle. Karthus, I don't know how his win rate went up, but it did. Karthus is just doing pretty well as a jungler. I think he's always like a high damage source. Solo AP Karthus is very OP, so if you play him solo AP, definitely one of the better AP junglers. Graves, I thought he'd do better, but apparently he relied heavily on like the lethality build. Bruiser Graves build doesn't really perform as well as lethality. So my understanding is just like Duskblade nerfs were big. It was carrying him. Now he goes Youmuu's, but Youmuu's isn't as good into champs that go Goredrinker Spear. So he kind of struggles in that avenue. He could try to match them with Spear and Goredrinker and stuff, but he doesn't really bring CC that these kind of like other junglers can bring. So not as dominant as I thought he'd be. Talia, she's a great AP jungle. I still think she's super nice to play. Her and Lilia, I've been like really like Talia, you go like Sorks into Ludens, and like you want to go like Horizon Focus or Shadow Flame. Lilia, you actually go Roa into Demonic, which is a very strong build path. So I think that's actually very nice for these two AP junglers, and you don't really need to one trick them, so they're pretty nice to play. Echo, you do need to one trick, but he's generally doing pretty well. I personally think Echo is just so much better mid, but every time you can get a pop-off Echo jungle game, it does look pretty nice. Shaco, the Clown Jester, yeah, not as good because of, you know, any champion that relied on assassin items, they don't do well into these like HP stacking bruisers. So Shaco, still okay, but not that great. Poppy, just a good counter pick overall. Kindred was a big one because like Kindred got nerfed, right? So the nerfs were pretty goddamn big, and I'm happy because I don't want to see Kindred in my game anymore. She's like okay, but like now I don't permaban Kindred because you don't actually have to. You can just play against Kindred now, and she's not that great. Her damage is way less, which is really important, and her like running or like chasing ability is just not the same. So that's good. I hated Kindred anyway, so that's a good one. Xin Zhao got buffed. I was hoping the buffs would actually kind of like skyrocket him higher, but I do feel like he struggles in some avenues. I think he's still a great pick. Like Goredrinker Spear of Sojourn is just extremely broken on him as well. His healing is actually super good. So like Low, I'd actually recommend now to play Xin more because his healing in the jungle doesn't mean like you're like losing HP anymore. So you can actually stay healthy and just be ready to gank and stuff. But he's just not good as like Jarvan gank. You know, Jarvan just the king of the jungle. Does everything a bit better. Viego's slowly rising up in the meta. Yeah, he's like okay. Not much to say about it. He just didn't really get changed, but he's like okay. Elise got buffed, but honestly, the more I look at the buffs, they're so placebo because they really make no difference. If you played Elise before, you probably still play her. If you didn't, then yeah, the buffs aren't going to change anything. So yeah, Elise still kind of chilling. Master Yi, he's generally like snowbally, like does well depending on the game. Not much to say about him. Zac, he's like a decent pick, does well into some bruisers. So I think he could be a good into like these kind of like hard HP stacking matchups because he has percent health damage. He's just hard to kill and stuff like that. Lee Sin is on the rise, same thing. Goredrinker buff's really nice. Plus Spear, Sojourn, Cleaver, HP stacking. I think it's just a very strong combination of items. You know, like he's just performing well. He's really happy to do it. Vi is actually better now. I think you should go Spear of Sojourn into Divine Thunder on Vi, and it's a very strong build. I think Vi is rising in the category of like her, you know, she's much more viable now, so it's just like a great overall pick, and I just recommend Vi to people before, and I think now she's definitely more playable. Don't go to Glass Cannon, just try, you know, that tankier build. Don't rush Divine Thunder, it's not a good first item. Spear Sojourn is very good first item on Vi, and I think you'll have a really good time if you give that a try. The rest of them, I'm a bit busy today, so I won't really go too much into detail, but generally these picks are playable. I mean, not the lower ones, but these ones here, much more playable. They're okay. They have their moments. Low Elo, Shyvana, and Amumu are just like god tier, so you can always make that work. So is Rammus very good. The rest of them just have their positions in different ELO brackets, and they're either good or bad depending on the game. But yeah, that's my jungle tier list, guys. Hope you liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one. That's patch 1.13.7 jungle tier list. Spear of Sojin meta Goredrinker. If you liked it, be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.